You're listening to WCAT Radio, your home for authentic Catholic programming.
Welcome. My name is Frank Ambrosio. I'm the co-director of the My Dante project at Georgetown University. It's my great pleasure today to welcome you to a reading of Inferno, the first canticle of Dante's Divine Comedy. It's voiced by Danny Fitzpatrick, and he's reading his own translation of the poem, which he recently completed in commemoration of the 700th anniversary of Dante's death in 1321. Poetry is meant to be spoken and heard. As Danny speaks, listen for the simplicity and economy of the English words and rhythms which Danny has discovered at work in Dante's native Italian. In their music and textures, we hear the primal power with which they break forth from silence, revealing the whole world, together with all of us, the living and the dead. So let's join Danny Fitzpatrick now on Dante's journey.
Hello and welcome back to the Dante in a Year podcast. My name is Danny Fitzpatrick. Last time in Canto 13, we watched as Dante and Virgil entered the Wood of the Suicides. Today they move on to the third ring of the seventh circle of hell, those who are violent against God. So let's begin with Dante's Inferno, Canto 14. Then as the love of the native place constrained me, I rounded up the scattered fronds and rendered them to him who was now faint. Then we came to the edge that parts the second gyre from the third, and where the horrible art of justice is seen. To manifest well the new things, I say that we arrived at a land that removes the bed of every plant. The dolorous wood girds it as a garland, as it in turn is bound by the sad moat. Here we paused our passage at the very edge. The expanse was a thick and arid sand, of no other kind than that once pressed beneath the feet of Cato. O vengeance of God, how much you ought be feared by all that read that now manifested to my eyes. I saw many crowds of nude spirits that all cried equally miserably, but appeared placed under several laws. Here one lies supine on the earth, one sits all gathered up in himself, and another wanders continually. Those that wander about are most numerous, and fewer those that lie in torment, though their tongues let loose more pain. All along the sand, in slow descent, rain dilated flakes of fire, as of snow on windless Alps. As Alexander, in those scalding parts of India, saw above his host flames falling endlessly to the steady earth, for which he saw that they stamped the soil with their herds, that the vapor might be extinguished while it was alone. So the eternal burning descended. Then the sand caught fire, as tinder under flint, to double the pain. Ever restless was the affair of the miserable hands, now here, now there, slapping at each fresh ash. I commenced, Master, you who conquer all things, outside that obdurate demon girded against us at the entrance of the door. Who is that great one who doesn't seem to care about the fire, and lies spiteful and twisted, such that the rain appears not to pain him? And that same one to whom it had occurred that I'd asked my guide of him, cried, What I was alive, so I am dead. If Jove tires his smith, from whom enraged he took the shining lightning he shattered me with at the last, or if he should wear out the others one by one, in Mongibello at the black furnace, calling, Good Vulcan, help, help, as indeed he did at the battle of Phlegra, and shoot me with all his force, he'd still not have a happy vengeance. Then my leader spoke such force as I'd not heard before. O Capaneus, and that your pride's not mortified, you're punished more. No martyrdom outside your own rage can pose pain to your fury. Then he turned back to me with milder lips, saying, This was one of the 7 kings who seized Thebes, and he held, and seems still to hold, God in disdain, and it appears he prays little. But, as I said to him, his own spite is the ornament most due his breast. Now come after me, and watch that you not set still your feet upon the harshest sand, but always keep your feet tight to the forest. Silently we went there where springs from the wood a little creek, whose redness yet racks me with horror. As from the Bulicame issues the rivulet, the sinning women then part among themselves, so that gave upon the sand. Its bottom and both its slopes were formed in rock, as are its margins to the side, through which I reasoned our passage might lie. Amid all the other things I've shown you, since we entered by the door whose thresholds denied to no one, your eyes have scoured nothing so notable as the present river, that kills all little flames above. These words came of my guide, to which I prayed him abundantly supply the food his abundance had made me desire. In the midst of the sea sits a wasted place, he now said, that's called Crete, under whose king the world was ever chaste. A mountain's there, happy once with water and foliage, called Ida. Now it's desert as a worn thing. Rhea once selected it for a faithful cradle to her son, and better to conceal him when he cried, made the people shriek. Within the mountain stands erect a great old man, who holds his shoulders turned against Damietta and regards Rome as his looking-glass. His head is formed of fine gold, and pure silver are his arms and his chest. Then he's brass to the fork. From there down's chosen all iron, save that the right foot is terracotta, and he stands on that more than on the other, erect. Every part outside the gold is broken by a fissure that chokes forth tears, which collected force open that grotto. The rocks direct their course in that valley. They make Acheron, Styx, and Phlegethon. Then they go down through this straightened gutter, to the end, there where there's no further down, and make Cocytus. And you'll see what sort of stagnant pond that is, but I'll not continue here. And I to him, if the present rivulet so flows down from our world, why does it appear purely at this vantage? And he to me, you know that the place is round, and for as far as you've yet come, ever to the left, ever dropping deeper, you've still not turned through all the circle. For that, should something new appear, it ought not lead marvel to your face. And still I, Master, where do Phlegethon and Lethe go? For of one you're silent, and of the other you say it comes of this rain. In all your questions you surely please me, he responded, but the boil of the red water ought well have solved the one you ask. You'll see Lethe, but out of this deep, there where the souls go to lave themselves when the false repentance been removed. Then he said, now it's time to move off from the wood. See you keep close behind me. The borders make a way that doesn't burn, and above them every vapor spent. Thanks for joining me for another episode of the Dante in a Year podcast. See you Friday for Canto 15. Thanks so much to everyone who's been listening in. I've been amazed to see so many people tuning in from all around the world. We've had listeners in 92 cities across 4 continents and 14 countries. Thanks especially to whoever's listening in Atlanta. Seems to be where we're getting the most listens. I don't know who you are. Feel free to reach out and connect if you'd like to. And thanks again to all of you. It's been a great pleasure to share in this journey with you so far, and looking forward to continuing. Thanks.
Hello, God's beloved. I'm Annabelle Mosley, author, professor of theology, and host of Then Sings My Soul and Destination Sainthood on WCAT Radio. I invite you to listen in and find inspiration along this sacred journey we're traveling together to make our lives a masterpiece and, with God's grace, become saints. Join me, Annabelle Mosley, for Then Sings My Soul and Destination Sainthood on WCAT Radio. God bless you. Remember, you're never alone. God is always with you.
Thank you for listening to a production of WCAT Radio. Please join us in our mission of evangelization. And don't forget, love lifts up when knowledge takes flight.